All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we're going to talk about signs it's time to move on from your shop. And this is not about a shop going out of business. This is just other signs you probably need to move on. Now, first big sign is when ethics get thrown out of the window. What I mean by that is all of a sudden there's a huge change and you are being asked to do things you are not comfortable with. And I'll let you be the judge of the kind of things I'm talking about, but usually this kind of stuff is preceded by them getting into a shop management group, et cetera, training classes, peers, talking with peers, where all of a sudden there's a huge shift and you see the writing on the wall of how it's going to be. Really important time to go ahead and polish up your resume and move on. Now, this next one is going to be more subjective, and that is a sudden change in your pay plan. Now, dealerships, I'm not talking about you guys because that can happen. And I talked about this in shops going out of business. Let's say you're currently hourly with commission. All of a sudden, everybody's flat rate, even the oil change kid. Now, keep in mind, this may simply be changing from hourly commission to flat rate or changing from flat rate to hourly commission or hourly. I want to first off and say this is not an immediate flag to you got to leave, get out of there without the context of other problems in the shop. Changing pay plans might actually work in your favor. So don't think I'm just saying straight up, this is a bad thing. Look at how your pay is going to change. Look at how your pay will actually be affected. Now, obviously, if you're changing from hourly or hourly with commission to straight flat rate, that's a decision you have to make based on how comfortable you are working flat rate. Not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm saying look at what you're going to get paid and how comfortable you are relying on work coming in and how stable that shop is on reliable work coming in. Because if you're changing from hourly or hourly with commission to flat rate, look at the workload. Look at how workflow happens in that shop. Because it literally might be a raise for you. Or it might be a huge pay cut. You really have to take into consideration your personal situation. Like, are you comfortable with flat rate? If you're not, it might be time to switch a job. If you're looking at, switching to flat rate and the shop fluctuates all over the place on what you bill on a commission-based hourly, you might want to switch shops because they're trying to save money. Keep in mind, don't just jump ship because they change pay plans. Look at your pay plan and will it benefit you? If it's not benefiting you, it might be definitely time to look around. Now, this is going to be a big one, especially in current times. Has work just died? If it's not staying busy consistently over a long stretch of time, it really might be time to look for a new job. We all know that kind of work is not sustainable. If everybody's standing around constantly, if they're not flat rate, it's, it sucks and it shouldn't be that way. But even if you're hourly, if you're standing around too much, you might want to find a busier shop because chances are things aren't going to end well for anyone involved if you're just standing around. Even if there's no other signs of the company going out of business, if you're not working, they're not bringing in money. So always be concerned when there's no work. Now, this is something probably should have been a red flag, and especially if you're in more advanced tech, you probably have a lot of shop tools around. Well, if they rely on your shop tools and expect you to borrow them to everybody, expect it, might not be the best place to work for. If they're not willing to invest in shop tools, you're just going to be paying for their business. I've always invested in my own tools for efficiency, not to supplement the shop owner's pocketbook. So if you're supplementing the pocketbook of the shop owner by buying all the shop tools, timing kits, et cetera, stop it and find a better place to work. If the shop relies on your equipment to do their job, I will give a great example. For years, like 6, at my old shop, the only smoke machine in the shop was mine. When they added the second shop down below, I owned two. I bought one and was sent by a manufacturer the second one. But when I left, the upper shop did not have a smoke machine. Think about that. But it's really important if you are supplying shop equipment to a shop that you understand you really probably are not at the best shop and need to look at a better place to work. Now, this next one, anytime anybody screws with your paycheck, shorting you on hours, shorting you on when you clocked in or clocked out, those are just, ethical problems that move on. Now, keep in mind, a lot of shops' policies on flat rate is if the vehicle didn't bill out or commission, if it doesn't bill out that week, they won't pay you on it. Now, I've never had a problem with this. I'm not paycheck to paycheck. It doesn't affect me that much. But understand that is mostly shop policies where they won't pay you on a job until it actually cashes out. And I understand that because it makes it funky in the management software where they already paid you a job. They got to subtract it, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. Really not that big of a deal, but I don't really care that much. But if they're constantly not paying you on jobs that have shipped, or shorting you on hours or changing your hours based on something, it probably is a good reason to get out of that shop. Now, I'm not talking about where I work. I'm talking generalities, so not talking about my current employer. Now, the last one we're going to talk about is your working environment. If you hate going there every day because of factors other than the fixing of cars, probably a toxic workplace. That's a really good reason to change jobs. If you go there and you're getting harassed by this boss, harassed by that boss, or just have a toxic coworker next to you. If it's a toxic work environment, there's plenty of videos. I've talked about a few signs. If it's toxic, it's probably not going to change. A lot of shop owners like to blame individual employees for toxicity. It doesn't always work that way. And in fact, most cases, the toxicity comes from up above. But I digress. If your work environment's toxic, get out of there. It's just not worth it. If it's toxic, move on. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.